Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone. My name is Khoirul Anam, and now I will present to you the topic that common and close in our society. It's about the existence of conventional ojek amidst the booming of online ojek around UGM. As we all know, ojek or motorcycle taxis have become a popular mode of transportation in Indonesia. Furthermore, in few years ago, this transportation adapt digitalizations and create new transportation mode that is online ojek, or known as ojol. The rise of online ojek platforms has transformed the industry, providing convenience and accessibility to passengers through their smartphone. Did you know? However, amidst this booming of online ojek, conventional ojek or the traditional ojek is still exists, even around us in around UGM. Let's see that. Okay, have you ever tried using conventional ojek while to go to somewhere? Have you ever seen conventional ojek based around UGM? And did you know that there still exists around UGM? Okay, maybe most of you, maybe most of us, not most of you, didn't know that there's so many conventional ojek based around UGM. My house is in the south of Mardhya Islamic Center UGM, and every day I walk going to and from campus, and every day I observe there is two ojek based or pangkalan ojek between my home and FNIPA. Despite distance of my house and FNIPA just around 700 meters, two ojek base I see is in front of RSGM UGM and on the north of Mardhya Islamic Center. At that little distance, there's two bases. I think it will be very much ojek base in whole UGM. Most of us may be more familiar with online ojek and less relevant to conventional ojek anymore. Ojek pangkalan is our father, our mother era, right? We think it's not for us anymore. Nowadays, we might prefer to use anything digital because we feel it's easier. Conventional were probably still massive used 5 years ago before the birth of Gojek in Indonesia. And now, besides Gojek, there's a lot of application provide online ojek transportation like Gojek. Maybe these four applications is familiar, and maybe in our phone, this application we download from Play Store, right? For me personally, I have Grab, and I often use it. Other apps also well known like Gojek, that's very famous. Maxim with their cheap offer, and in drivers that famous now because it offers you can choose your drivers, and my friends like use these applications to get a handsome drivers or something. It's crazy. Nah, online transformation service have come a long way in Indonesia. It's all started in 2009 when Gojek was founded by Mr. Nadiem Anwar Makarim, which now being our Minister of Education, Culture and Research on Technology in Indonesia. Gojek is the pioneer of the online transportation in Indonesia. In 2010, Gojek was released to the public through the call center. So it's probably little bit people know that the MVP, the minimum viable product of Gojek, is not an application, but it's call center, which made it easier for people to access their service. It's just like conventional ojek, but connected with the call center. In 2014, Grab Taxi was launched in Indonesia, which provide competitions to Gojek in the transportation industry. In the same years, Gojek released their Android and iOS apps, making it more convenient for people to book their rides using their smartphone. And since this Gojek become booming and very high demand, furthermore, now that company, which is Goto, become the first decacorn company in Indonesia. Wow! And Gojek applications have very much feature now, even provide food delivery service also. Nah, in 2015, Grab released their Grab Ride feature on their apps. This move made Grab closer to Gojek in terms of the service they offer. Since then, many other online transportations have been found and come, providing more options for users and increasing competition in the market. Today, online transportation service has become an integral part of Indonesian society, providing convenient, affordable, and reliable transportation option for millions of people. With the increasing demands for transportation service, it's likely that we will see more online transportation application in the future. The booming of online Ojek transportations has significantly impacted the traditional Ojek industry. With the convenience and affordability that online Ojek services offers, many people have switched from using conventional Ojek to online Ojek since about 5 years ago. As a result, the existence of traditional Ojek has been threatened, and many traditional Ojek drivers have seen a decrease in their income. Unlike, unlike online Ojek drivers who can be located through mobile apps, conventional Ojek drivers rely on being stationed at specific locations to find passengers. This can be a disadvantage for them. Overall, the impact of online Ojek services on the traditional or conventional Ojek industry has been significant. While some traditional Ojek drivers have struggled to compare with online Ojek services, others have found ways to adapt and continue operating their business. There are so many reasons why the conventional Ojek drivers not change and being an online Ojek drivers. I think conventional Ojek and online Ojek have their own disadvantage and advantage for the passengers. Let's see. Let's talk about the advantage and the disadvantage of online Ojek transportations. They offer some advantage, such as the convenience of non-cash payment, flexibility of being picked up anywhere without having to go to a designated base or going to Pangkalan like conventional Ojek, and the availability of various promotion through the applications. Disadvantages have made Ojek Online a preferred mode of transportation for many people. Oh, I forgot one in this slide. Online Ojek also available 24 hours. You can find drivers anytime you want, even in the middle of the night. However, there are also some disadvantages of using online Ojek. One of the major drawbacks is the pricing systems, which is set and cannot be negotiated. This can sometimes lead to higher price than we expect, especially during peak hours or when demand is high. In addition, the application rely on network connections, which can sometimes be poor or unavailable in certain areas. This can cause difficulties in booking or a ride or tracking the driver's locations. Another significant concern with online Ojek is the issue of personal data security. Users are required to provide their personal information, including their phone number, locations, payment details, which can potentially be accessed by unauthorized people or by weak hacker like cracker gitu. Okay, now let's see the advantage and disadvantage of using conventional Ojek. One of the main advantages of conventional Ojek is that passengers can negotiate the price with the drivers, which can be more flexible compared to online Ojek. Then passengers can choose drivers who they trust and build a good relationship with, especially if they need a daily ride. Conventional Ojek also doesn't require smartphone or internet quota, making it more accessible to everyone. One more, in online Ojek there is minimum price. So if you want go not too far, the price is very high compared if you using conventional Ojek. I have ever tried using Grab from my home to Wisdom Park UGM. The price is set at minimum price, which is 12,000 rupiahs. Well, I ever to use conventional Ojek from my home to Wisdom Park, and it's just took 5,000 rupiahs. It's very cheap compared with the Grab with same distance if the distance is not too far, because the online Ojek use minimum price. However, there are some disadvantages of using conventional Ojek. One of the main disadvantages is the passengers cannot easily find Ojek unless they have a regular or daily drivers. Unlike Ojek, doesn't like online Ojek, passengers cannot just order a ride through an application and expect a driver to arrive quickly. Another disadvantage is that the price is not standardized and set by the drivers themselves, which can sometimes result in higher price compared to online Ojek. Furthermore, the number of conventional Ojek drivers has significantly decreased due to the popularity of online Ojek transportations. Last, payment is only available in cash, which can be inconvenient for some people who prefer non-cash transactions. Okay, one interesting story. A few days ago, I had the chance to interview some conventional Ojek drivers, and I also asked them why they still work as conventional Ojek drivers instead of switching to become online Ojek drivers. They replied that they didn't understand how to use smartphone. I understand that most of them are older people who, in general, are less familiar with technology. I think things like these are sometimes forgotten but by some people. Besides, while technology helps many jobs, it sometimes also replaces the roles of people who still need them. I asked them about their income as conventional Ojek drivers, and the drivers replied that they always felt grateful for whether they earned, as long as it was enough to feed their children and wife. He said that currently most of the passengers are patients or the family of patients who go to Sari hospital. Even though I'm UGM, there should be students, many students use this service beside patients in Sarjito. Therefore, let us preserve and try to use conventional Ojek as well. In conclusion, online and conventional Ojek both have their own advantage and disadvantage. Online Ojek offers convenience and easy of use, while conventional Ojek provides more flexibility in terms of price negotiations and daily drivers. However, we should also remember that conventional Ojek drivers are often older people who may not be able to adapt with technology, and that they still play important role in our society. We don't always have to use conventional Ojek when going to somewhere, but sometimes we have to respect what is around us. Let's look around, and there's nothing wrong with helping these old drivers to maintain their job and increasing their income. Okay, that's my presentations. This is all my research to make my slides. Thanks a lot for the attentions. I'm sorry if there's a mistakes in my slides or my speaks, and I'm sorry if my English is not good enough. Thanks for watching, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.